So Bitcoin just got slammed by billionaire Jeffrey Gundlach, while Michael Saylor doubles down again with another $100 million buy. And we have Ethereum, which we believe could be setting up for a gold style breakout. Let's dive in. So diving right into it, the bond king Jeffrey Gundlach warns Bitcoin has lost its momentum, saying that Bitcoin is not a very good investment. You guys have heard us say that as well. I think from an investment standpoint, I think Bitcoin is a great wealth preserver, but most people are in the wealth creation phase, right? They want to create the wealth. They don't want to just preserve it at this time in their lives. So that is why billionaire Jeffrey Gundlach is saying this, and he didn't really hold back. In the CNBC interview, he says Bitcoin has lost its momentum, is no longer a good investment, and he points out that Bitcoin has underperformed gold this year. Now, we know as time progresses, that is not going to hold true, right? We understand that, right? But he's leaning on that, and he compared the crypto as a whole to financial gimmicks of the past, saying he has no plans to get involved with Bitcoin treasuries. Right now, Bitcoin trades at over 100,000, right? 112,000, pulling back. So people are freaking out. And he gave his 2 cents, right? At the time of that article, Bitcoin was trading at 114,809. This is before the pullback, right? So he's not necessarily for crypto. He's known as the bond king. That is his space, right? But he's thinking crypto has lost its steam, specifically Bitcoin, right? He says that Bitcoin and ETH will probably witness steep corrections if other asset classes like stocks pull back. So of course, we believe Bitcoin and crypto is the greatest financial opportunity of our lifetime. We believe that. But billionaire Jeffrey Gundlach, he's already a billionaire. So like I've said this before, these guys can afford to miss out on an opportunity like this. You can afford to, right? I'm already a billionaire, right? I'm worth multiple billions. So worst case scenario, let's say I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Already a billionaire. So he can afford to be wrong. So next up, we have analysts predict that Ethereum will follow gold breakout with new all-time highs. So looking at the other side of the spectrum, they're saying that Ethereum is setting up for all-time highs, which we believe that wholeheartedly. If we go to Ethereum real quick on the charts, we see that Ethereum is testing levels of support, right? I'm not really concerned. Not concerned at all. We see the divergence. It definitely followed that divergence play. Came up, pulling back again. And I think we can say we're at divergence again. Okay. Divergence again, except from a different angle. This is where we're at. All right. Different angle. We can pull from here and go upwards. That is the same thing we were just looking at. So we see where we're at here. We go here. Same thing, guys. Same exact thing. Same story to tell. Bullish divergence. And if you really want to point out this, most people aren't pointing this out. Inverted head and shoulders on the daily time frame. Now we're seeing that with Bitcoin as well, but an inverted head and shoulders here, you can say definitely to continue new highs, right? So you can continue new highs. That's kind of how I'm looking at it right there. I definitely think that a pullback is welcomed. Will it happen? I don't know. We're seeing we're at a major level of support here, but I think it's definitely inverted head and shoulders there. If we go to the 4 hours, probably seen a little bit better as you see this inverted head and shoulders, really respecting this 4,000, 4,100 level, respecting this level pretty clear. And I would say a range. So from 4,000 to about 4,200, that range is being respected. So on the daily time frame, it's a lot clearer. And we'll remove this until we get some more levels, but definitely some divergence there as well. Major level of support right here. So we're paying attention to that. But back to the article here, people are telling us that Ethereum's consolidating above 4,000 in the coming weeks to wait for a key technical indicator to rise before blasting to new all-time highs. So I definitely agree with this. I definitely think that Ethereum is by far one of the undervalued plays. I think Ethereum is what Bitcoin was back in 2018, right? I think that's the opportunity we're at right now. Back when Bitcoin was around the same price range. Now, will it perform the same? I don't know. That would be nice, but I definitely think there is value there with Ethereum, especially as they continue to grow and develop and ultimately realize that they have to scale. They have to scale. It's not oh, we have market share, we're good. No, there are alternatives now. They have first mover advantage, of course, but they have to continue to scale in order to ultimately be continue to be number 2 spot, second largest crypto in the world. So next up, Michael Saylor acquiring another $100 million in Bitcoin with the Fed rate cuts. So here, Michael Saylor's strategy, the world's largest corporate Bitcoin holder, added more Bitcoin to his balance sheet last week as the U.S. Federal Reserve cut interest rates for the first time this year. Strategy acquired 850 Bitcoin for $99.7 million during the week ending Sunday, according to a U.S. SEC commission filing on Monday. The purchase was made at an average price of $117,000 per coin, and Bitcoin briefly surged multi-week highs above $117,000 on Thursday. So ongoing buying slow down as Bitcoin goes boring is what they're saying. So as it's going boring, we have major whales continuing to accumulate. So just remember that, right? This isn't like the sexiest time to be in crypto. The pullback. So when we go to crypto bubbles and we see all this red or mostly red, this isn't the best time to be in crypto, right? Everything is not exciting, okay? But in the midst of that, we see whales accumulating. So that should tell you something. That should give you an indicator that, hey, look, they're buying. They must know something that I may not, right? That's the way to look at it for sure. Next up, we have crypto funds see $1.9 billion in inflows as Bitcoin ETFs extend streak. So Bitcoin ETFs drove crypto fund gains last week, posting 4 consecutive weeks of inflows totaling $3.9 billion. So crypto funds recorded a second consecutive week of inflows, and crypto exchange traded products ETPs logged 1.9 billion in inflows last week. So the inflows are there, right? And you can see the week inflows and what that looks like in year to date. Bitcoin's killing it. Solana inflows are third. We have multi-assets inflows as well year to date, killing it. And we have a handful of others, guys. Cardano's up there, right? Sui's up there. XRP, Solana, right? Big. So everyone asks, like, how do you know which cryptos to pick, right? Look at what the whales are doing. That's the conservative side. Conservatively, if you were to be conservative and you just don't know what to do, right? A conservative play would be, okay, I see 977 million in week flows, right? Year to date, I see 24.7 billion, I'm assuming, in inflows, right? Maybe I should look at these assets that have inflows that ETFs are being rolled out for. I should look at the big funds, like what are they buying? I see strategy buying Bitcoin. Maybe that would be something to ride their coattails with. That's the beauty of where we're at right now. It's not hidden. Back in the day, this stuff was hidden. You didn't know until, oh yeah, they made 10 billion off of this, and no one even knew about the play. Now it's public. Now we have the internet. Now you have things being very open and public where you can find it. You can track wallets, so you can see. In a worst case scenario, if you don't want to do your own research, you can just ride the coattails of people that have, right? And trust their due diligence with the funds that they're investing in, or the inflows that you're seeing in particular assets. That is a play. That is one way to look at it. So next up, we see XRP. XRP is respecting this level almost perfectly. You see the pullback. You see this counter trend line here. We're going to keep that there just because it's been respected for the most part. pretty precise and consistent with the pullback that we were anticipating. So we'll see. Are we going to break below? And that's a major buying opportunity. I think anything under $3 is a good buy for XRP. I am one of those ones that do believe that there is going to be opportunity prices that are not even being talked about, or very seldomly being talked about, right? I don't see why, if R3 happens, right? R3 rollout happens with XRP being that mediator for that, or if you see the adoption that XRP is claiming to have with over 100 plus banks, the supply and demand factor of XRP, I definitely think XRP could see big numbers. Yes, that means 1,000. Yes, that means over 500. I do believe that if they capitalize and come through with the partnerships that they say they have. So we'll see what happens there. So with that being said, I have told a lot of friends about XRP. I said, I don't know. I've been right so far with XRP. A lot of my friends are telling me to sell it. Oh no, just XRP is dead. It's not moving. In the midst of nothing's moving. Like XRP was like nothing. Not many coins were moving. XRP was under SEC lawsuits, right? So no one wanted to touch it because we didn't even have regulatory clarity. And you're the project that's under an SEC lawsuit. We're definitely not touching you. I get it. And then they won the lawsuit and price didn't explode immediately, right? So people started selling. I know people that's like I told you. I think I told you guys the story before. I know a guy. Well, I know a friend of a friend, right? This guy, he sold all his XRP for a meme coin. The meme coin went bust. XRP exploded. Literally lost. Missed out on $500,000. Legit. Based off of where price is right now. Missed out on $500,000. Right? So I definitely think there are times, and I went through something similar. I didn't sell though. I'm not going to say I guess it's not similar, but people were telling me to sell and I'm like, I'm gonna just hold. Cause I'm like, I don't see it. I just didn't see it. Right. I didn't understand. And I'm not really that one where once I do the research, right. Once I do my due diligence, I'm not just jumping ship. It takes a lot for me to jump ship. A lot has to go wrong. And I think XRP was a sleeping giant. And I think it still is. I think it still is for sure a sleeping giant. Look at XRP rich list, guys. This is only going to get greater, right? Only going to get greater. And I think you can even look in comparison to like Bitcoin rich list, right? At one point, Bitcoin's rich list was the equivalent, right? And we look down here and we see this XRP rich list, guys. This is it. You see that you only need 10,000 XRP, 10,584 XRP to be in the top 4%. This number is going to dwindle, right? This number is going to dwindle, right? So I think that the opportunity is here. You only need 2,300 XRP to be in the top 10%. Can you imagine when price appreciates? That number is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller, right? So it's really a supply and demand thing. I look at it. This is how I'm looking at XRP, right? And worst case scenario, you're out 2,370 XRP, which is equivalent to like maybe $6,000, about $6,000. Okay. If you guys want exact numbers at the time of this video, we can go here. Just easy to go to CoinMarketCap. I think it's what, 2,360. Okay, I was spot on. So even looking here, we look at the rich list, it's 2,370. Okay, sorry, 2,370. 2,370. Yeah, $6,700. All right, that's what you're out of. $6,700 to be in the top of the world when it comes to crypto holders, right? That's where you're at. So when we look at that and we look at the opportunity in front of us, I definitely think that this carries weight. It carries weight. There are people there's people I know that are in the top 1% of XRP holders. That's only going to grow as price appreciates. So just picture that. All right. It's top 3, top 4 for a reason. So I'm an XRP ally, right? I don't know if I'm in the army. I'm an ally just because I got bags. Like I'm a Cardano holder. I love Cardano, right? I like H-bar. Most people in the XRP army are like 90% XRP. Okay. So that's why I say I'm an ally. So that's definitely something to pay attention to and do your own research on that, because the content that we're going to come out with and be sharing with you guys is really going to separate your thoughts on XRP, because we believe that XRP by far is one of the most undervalued altcoins, not just because it's one of the cheapest in the top 10, right? You look at the top 10, people say, oh, you're buying it because it's the cheapest in the top 10, right? It's one of the cheaper ones, I would say, right? We have Cardano, Tron, Dogecoin, Solana, right? It's one of the cheaper ones, I could say, because Solana's over 200, BNB's almost 1,000, right? So it's $2.83. I think the risk to reward is great when it comes to XRP. So I have the same feeling I had when I got in Cardano at 2 cents, right? When everyone was telling me, oh, don't touch that thing, that thing's dead. Don't look. It's the same feeling I have with XRP. I don't know what it is, right? I've done a lot of research on XRP. So I think when things actually start coming to fruition, when it comes to those 200 plus banks that are in partnership with XRP, that are currently using XRP or the XRP ledger, right, or using XRP for settlement, right? When that comes out, I think it's going to be a supply and demand thing, because you're going to need a high price point with XRP in order for it to make sense. So we'll see how that goes. Definitely want to give you guys a market update, right? So hope you guys got some value out of this video. Keep moving forward in everything that you do. We'll see you soon.